This is a Hot Pie Media original. Hi, it's Deb, and this is my podcast.
You're listening to the Deb O'Keefe Podcast, the podcast where Deb O'Keefe doesn't know anything.
Guys, we're getting near Christmas, and there's a Papa Noel. I don't know if that's what he's called, but that's what I always call the Christmas tree sites, places on the side of the road where you can buy a tree. There's one in the car park of the studio here, and I see it all the time. And I really want to get a tree. I haven't got a tree up yet. It's like, what are we, a week and a half away from Christmas? Maybe less than that. I don't know. I'm terrible with dates, but I haven't got a tree yet. And I've had such a mixed emotion year this year. I can't decide if I want to have a tree and enjoy it or just enjoy it at my friend's house where I go and spend Christmas, enjoy their tree. They've got a great tree. But this is another thing. If you guys have any tips, feel free to get at me on social media at Deb O'Keefe. I've got cats, right? Cats and dogs. And the dogs aren't so bad, but the cats, those assholes, get in the tree. Inside the real Christmas tree. And so last year I decided, all right, no more of that. I'm going to get a fake tree. And I didn't realize it was pre-lit, and I was really excited about it. But this pre-lit Christmas tree also came pre-lit with stripper juice, which is glitter, basically. It's glitter everywhere. It's like I'm having a big old party. And so I got rid of that tree. I donated it to charity, and now I don't have a tree, and I don't get a real tree. I don't know what to do. I'll just hang some tinsel up from the chandelier so they can't get to it. I don't know. If you got any tips on that, get at me on social media. Well, yeah, that'd be great. In slight irony, I'd like to thank Early Bird CBD Gummies for being a sponsor of the show today. I say irony because, it's a police officer on the show today. This is legal. It's a legal product, guys. Still makes me nervous talking about it sometimes, though. I got to get over that. I am sort of new to the CBD game. I say sort of new. I'm CBD oils I've been doing for a couple of years. Actually gave some to my dog once, and but the THC that you can find in Early Bird CBD gummies are something that I just never really had much luck with. And when they gave me some sample packets like this, guys, these are little 4-packs that they come in. I tried them. I love it. It's a really chill vibe for me. You feel like you've got some groove on, if you know what I mean, but you're not lit. That's what I didn't like about smoking weed. Made me feel gross. And you can try CBD, Early Bird CBD THC gummies right now with 20% off. What a great deal. earlybirdcbd.com/Deb. They've got so many reviews, great reviews, 5 reviews. Best shit ever. This one right in front of me says, I love Early Bird. It's measurable, accountable, and deliverable. It's a great product. So that's just one of the many reviews. You can check them out online. Again, use my code DEB to get 20% off your first order. That's earlybirdcbd.com/Deb. All right. No more farting around, guys. I've actually been farting around for a little while waiting for my guest to get on Zoom. He had an emergency and had to jump in his car, but decided, hey, don't worry, Deb. I'm going to pull over and talk to you on the side of the road because you deserve it. And that actually looks way better than I make it sound because he's by the beach. It's so nice. Ladies and gentlemen, from his car, from sunny Southern California, welcome to the show, Chief Art Acevedo. Well, finally, I feel like finally, because I had to cancel on you once, Chief, last week, unfortunately. And it's so great to have you. Thank you. Welcome to my podcast. I know tons of Austinites are going to be saying, oh my God, I know that guy. We still miss you.
He's athlete's feet. You can't get rid of him. He's like athlete's foot.
So, okay, let's just dispel any rumors right now. Are you coming back here or what?
I don't think so. But, you never say never. We got to see what happens.
Yeah, see what happens.
I'm in transition right now.
Yeah, I know exactly how you feel and where you've been. Yeah. I know exactly what you're going. Well, not exactly. I'm not exactly the same profession as you, but you've been through a lot. And for those who possibly don't know who you are, which is bizarre to me, but Chief Acevedo left L.A. where you started your career in law enforcement with the California Highway Patrol. Came to Austin. You're our leader, our friend, our voice. Then you left us, you bastard. But that's okay.
Well, hey, you know,
I've got family friends in Houston, and they loved having you.
Yeah.
And so you were chief of police in Houston, which
Yeah.
I feel like is where maybe a lot of people nationally might recognize you, because during the summer of protests, George Floyd protests, and of course many others, you were out there shoulder to shoulder with protesters, and you took a knee.
Yeah.
When I saw you do that, I said, that's why he's doing what he's doing. That's why this man is the person that we need in charge. And then when you moved on to Miami, I thought, that's great move for you. You're Cuban American. I'm sure you have loads of ties to the community. I thought that was going to be the perfect landing point.
Yeah.
And then I read what those, you beat me out here. Did to you. I feel like, and I know you don't want to talk too much, but I can say what I want though. I feel,
Sure.
and people can go online and read reports of what was happened from what I have read online independently, and having spoken to you and some of our, family friends really that we have in common.
Right.
You were damn railroaded. I feel like that might be the only time I've ever used this word to say in a real official capacity. I feel like you were railroaded, and I'm so sorry what you've gone through. I know we can't talk about the ins and outs of that, but needless to say, your life's been disrupted. You've got a wife and son who's still in school, in last year of middle school, about to go to high school there in Miami. Are they going to come to LA where you are? I mean, life's kind of upside down right now. Listen, I'd like to ask people this because we should with our friends. Are you doing all right? You doing okay?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Look, it's interesting that I've been a major city police chief for 14 and a half years. Probably the longest serving big city police chief in the last decade and a half. Most police chiefs are lasting right now in this environment about 2 years, because it's such a politically charged environment. Mm-hmm. But I've always mentored young executives, and I always tell them, look, you should come to work to do your job, not keep your job. And I've always told them, as I've lectured on leadership, that if you're not willing to walk away from the job as a police chief, you shouldn't take it in the first place. And if you're afraid to lose your job, you shouldn't take it, because then you'll be paralyzed by fear. So, God has a weird way of functioning. And I think that 35 years into this career, I was able to model the behavior that I talked about. And quite honestly, went to Miami, was heavily recruited by the mayor, Francis Suarez, and the city manager too. And brought there, I would say, seduced to come there by their professed desire to reform that police department,
which it was desperately needed and still is.
As you can tell, that whole city needs reform. City government, better saying, there's a lot of good people in Miami. But Tanya didn't want to go. I didn't do my homework, and unfortunately, what I found is that they might have said they wanted reform, but there were 3 Cuban commissioners that I submitted an 8-page memo to the FBI documenting what I felt was criminal misconduct,
corruption,
and the rest is history. I modeled the behavior that I lectured about all those years. So, but life is long. I'm doing well. I've been in LA now for 2 months, reconnecting with my childhood, with, this is where I started my police career. And it's just been so good just seeing a lot of old friends, a lot of people in the political circles on both sides of the aisle that I've known over the last 35 years and throughout my lifetime. It's been a lot of fun.
Oh, I imagine. And it's been fun seeing, we're friends on Facebook. So it's nice to see you reconnecting with cousins and family and people who feel like family, and probably well needed in a time like this. You know me, I'm not a super serious interviewer. We're lucky to be connected by family. I would say that the family that adopted me here are related to you, police family. So we've spent a lot of time together cutting it up. But I've got some serious questions about about what's happening, not just in LA, and we can talk about that for a sec too, about why you decided that you're not going to pursue the position of LA County Sheriff. But there just seems to be so much politicizing of law enforcement nowadays. And, I'm not from here. I don't have a law enforcement criminal, degree background. I just know what I see with you, with the great leadership I see with our family friend Wood and other great law enforcement officials. But to me, having a politicized police department of any way, shape or form, sheriffs, whatever county, that's just wrong. How is public safety a political issue? Isn't public safety just that? Safety for the public, for everyone? I mean, am I dumb? It confuses me.
No, I mean, look, public safety, criminal justice should be a nonpartisan proposition. It shouldn't be about Republican or Democrat. But, we're living at a time in this nation's history where we've politicized everything.
Masks, for God's sake.
I mean, a public health epidemic has become political, right? I mean, how in the world can something called COVID become a political debate?
It's mind-boggling.
It's just, I fought so hard when COVID hit as the president of the Major City Chiefs Association, which is the 70 largest police departments in the country.
You were in Houston at the time, yeah?
I was in Houston.
Yeah.
Fought hard because we didn't have enough PPE, personal protective equipment, not enough masks, not enough gloves, goggles for first responders, for the community. So President Trump at the time wouldn't invoke the Production Act, the Defense Production Act, that would allow the president to require industry to produce things that we need. So, I mean, I wrote op-ed pieces. I was on, cable news, national news, beating up the president because the officers were screaming, the first responders were screaming, we need protection. So we get it. And then the vaccine comes along, and I've got to give President Trump credit. He put a lot of money into getting that vaccine, which was not a new science. It's basically a flu type bug, this COVID-19. So it's not a new science, that the development of vaccine gets it done in record time. And now in Texas, if you remember, Governor Abbott put police officers like in tier 3, so lower tier. So that made me angry. And
I'm
so
too.
I started, So I started fighting with the governor about cops need to be in top tier. And then we finally get it done. And our Mayor Turner calls me and says, hey, African Americans and Hispanics they're very, they don't want to get vaccinated. So I want you to get vaccinated. I go, no, Mayor, I don't want to get vaccinated until all my officers get vaccinated. I want to be the last one. I want them to get protection.
But this wasn't vaccination hesitancy. You wanted to put your guys first.
Well, I wanted to put my guys first. But the mayor wanted us to be able to show himself as an African American and myself as a Latino and the fire chief to model and reassure the community that they were safe. And come to find out, about 50% of police officers don't want to be vaccinated. And oh my God, what? And I tell the cops, look, man, we're all about the evidence. We're about chasing the clues. And let me give you a clue. Every living president, from Trump to Biden, to Obama, to Bush, right, to the Clintons, and their families are all vaccinated.
All done.
That's a clue.
Yeah.
Get vaccinated.
Bipartisan, right there. It is scary. It's scary that misinformation and disinformation has been just spread so widely and so unchecked. And I know social media sites are saying they've done what they can do, and they let so much misinformation through. There are podcasters. There's a fellow podcaster in this very same town. You may have heard of him. #1 podcast in the country, if not in the world. I just read an article yesterday about exactly how many lies and misinformation and fear-mongering that he's been propagating. And it's beyond aggravating and terrifying. And I think I remember it might have been you actually that posted something or said something about the leading killer of American police officers is COVID currently. How
and what's so scary? Well, what's so scary about that is that we are experiencing a real increase in officers being murdered with gunfire. And despite that increase, COVID's still killing us at a much greater rate. It's crazy.
It literally giving me goosebumps. It's chilling that
it is sad
that these men who will put themselves out there, men and women, will put themselves out there in the path of danger in order to protect us and keep the peace. And yet there's this very simple thing that they could do to protect themselves. And it's not happening. It's not happening.
Yeah, what can you do?
Well, I thought that if you have over X amount of employees, it's mandated if you're a civil government contractor, if you're a organization? I guess it's different in every state.
Well, that's all being litigated now. President Biden had issued some executive orders, but as of today, I don't know when this is going to, I don't know when you're going to broadcast.
So today is the 9th, and you will be coming out this Thursday. So you'll be a week from tomorrow, which will be today.
There's a lot of litigation going on across the country, and I believe the Senate just passed just basically passed a bill countermanding President Biden's mandate. So again, it's all political. It's all been politicized. And all I can tell people is, look, follow the science, follow the data, get your data from legitimate sources, because we are in a battle for, I think, the heart and soul of this country. And unfortunately, what people don't realize, that foreign actors, foreign nations are actually engaging in psychological warfare against the American people. Yeah. They are targeting us with artificial intelligence. They know exactly what you click, when you click on your cell phone, on your on what sites you hit. So they know how to tailor messages, and how to plant false information to just feed that division.
Right. They want to divide us. They want, and it's honestly better than any germ warfare, any other country threatening nukes to destroy something from within. And that's, it's terrifying.
It's well, I know you're European, so you may remember that the Russians and the Soviets used to say that we will win the war against the West without firing a shot, because the West is full of useful idiots.
Oh my! Ouch!
I hate to say that.
Ouch!
But, we're
Thanks,
kind
Russia.
of like we're proving the Soviets. So for all you patriots out there, let's prove the Soviets, the communist pink goes wrong by starting to get our act together.
Let's use Trump's words for this. America first. Think about your brothers and sisters here, the people that live here, regardless of skin color or national origin or gender or sexuality or job or status or money. We're all living here. That's another thing. I know you think this. I feel like if you live here and you're allowed to live here and you decide to live here, like I have. I came here and I decided I've got to play by the rules, right? I've got to renew my driver's license when it's up. I've got to drive.
Did you finally get a license?
Finally did it, yeah. Actually, you're joking, but I lost it in March and I just got it last month.
Oh, Lord have mercy.
Actually, I didn't. A friend lost it. So anyway, but I was using my green card, so I'm fine. But that's it. You follow the rules mostly. You drive on the correct side of the road. To adhere to public safety, you wear your seatbelt. Yes, it's the law, but it's for public safety. If you live in a house in the city limits, you're not allowed to burn garbage in your backyard, because we've all taken on this agreement, this community moral agreement that we're going to play by the rules to take care of each other. So when it comes to a pandemic, how do we just say, no, I'm an island. I'm a free thinker. I'm an individual. I want my own choice. But you've agreed to live in this society with us. You've said, I'm going to sign that unofficial covenant that says I will live next to you and we can have different views, but we're going to put the trash cans out on Friday and take them in the next morning. Right. Yeah. It's not the holidays without Specs, and what a great sponsor for my show. Big fan of you, Specs. Been going to you for years. Hancock is my nearest one. And I go there because they offer the best pairings. They have great holiday present ideas. They've got the gift baskets. They've got food. They're not just spirits, wine, finer foods are there as well. You can get great holiday gifts or even things to bring to a holiday party if you're going. 4-time National Retailer of the Year. And they're just great people. If you ever seen any of their TV commercials, they're funny. You can freshen up your holiday cheer with seasonal cocktails. You can go to specsonline.com for a ton of recipes that are handpicked by the Specs mixology experts themselves, or head into a store, wear a mask, and purchase yourself some great holiday cheer at Specs.
It's inexplicable to me. I think that we've forgotten that we're so radically interdependent on one another as human beings.
So true.
And if we don't start learning how to focus on the things that unite us, if we don't start focusing on, life isn't Burger King. You don't get to have it your way every day. It's about give and take. It's about, in Texas, God bless them now. I love Texas. I love Texans. There's a good chance the day I retire for good, I'll end up back in Texas. Yes. But now what? Are we going to start burning books in Texas now? Is that the new thing?
Well, we can't have autonomy over our bodies as women, so we got that going on for us. So, but you know what?
Yeah, right.
Oh wait, hang on, Republicans. My body, my choice. Yeah, don't wear a mask. You can't use that. That's ours. My body, my choice. All right, we came up with that. Right. Yeah, so there's some crazy shit going on here, Chief, too. But maybe you do need to come back. What about this? Can you be our new moral leader? Can you be and I hope this isn't blasphemous to anybody, but can you be our MLK that comes forward and speaks some truth, spits some truth?
That truth to power has been getting me in trouble for many, many years now. I get beat up by both extremes, left and right, which tells me when you get beat up by both the left and the right, you're in a pretty good space. Because you know what? Again, moderation, being practical, trying to find the middle ground, the common sense middle, I think is where most of us are at. And for some things we may be, center left, for some things we may be center right, but we tend to understand that, let's try to compromise so it's a win-win instead of winners and losers, which seems to be the case now.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like we, can we simple it down even more? Maybe that was too complicated for the people who want to be divisive. Maybe we can just say, all right, if you're not married, then maybe this is a foreign concept to you. But if you're married or in a relationship, what's it all about? Art? Negotiating, compromise, being fair, understanding, sometimes taking an L, And, and so if you can't relate to that for whatever reason, then think back to when you were kids and you're trying to negotiate with your siblings or your friends from school or your parents even. It is a give and take, and that's life. And you can't always be the one who says, I'm right, you're wrong, period.
Yeah. It's, again, or like in my house, there's 2 rules to be happy. Rule number 1, it's your fault, i.e. me. And rule number 2, refer to rule number 1.
Oh,
if you just know that. For the married guys out there, they know what I'm talking about.
Can't get no respect. Can't get no respect in the home. But, well, like I said, don't forget about the suggestion I made. Maybe you can be the great next hope that brings us together and like naughty children, right? You bang the extreme left and the extreme right, you bang their heads together.
And they hate each other. Both extremes hate each other. And they don't understand. They have one thing completely in common. Mm-hmm. They are extreme. It may be different motivating factors, but they are both extreme, and they're both out of touch with the majority of the American people. That's why there's so much anger and apathy in this country, because people are tired of both extremes carrying the day politically, and the rest of us are all stuck in the middle trying to figure it out.
We're like this. We're like, no, you stay back.
Yeah. Boom, boom.
I know. I'd say to the extremists, though, wherever you are, you don't like this, right? You don't want to wear a mask when you go to CVS, or you don't want to, whatever the other simple rules we've asked you to do to, look out for your neighbor. Go and buy that house on a hill in the middle of nowhere. Go and live in the woods. Do that. And then you're completely autonomous. But when you need medical help, you'll come crying back to town saying, "Doctor, can you help me?"
Yeah, exactly right. Look, like I always tell people, look, when I want to know about the weather, I go to a meteorologist. When I want to know about medicine, I go to my doctor. Yeah. When I want to know about pandemic or I go to a scientist. Mm-hmm. So be careful. I don't go to a politician where I need to know how to keep safe as it relates to a health epidemic.
Yeah, true. They're a politician, which AKA lies and power. That's what they deal in. Okay,
you ain't kidding.
So again, we're on the 9th of December. Sorry that this is going to be out in a week, but what are you making of the news coming out of the UK now with Boris Johnson absolutely crapping his pants because his cabinet had Christmas parties last year amid COVID? And have you seen all of this nonsense? They were caught on video at a Christmas party, not social distancing, joking about the fact that they were doing all of those things. And these videos came out this year, and they're all go scrambling, and yet they're videos of them saying, "Oh, we're going to lie about this, right?" Politicians are in it for the power. I mean, I'm sure there are some good ones out there. I can't think of any off the top of my head right now. They're 100% good. Yeah, I can think of some. But you've got a position that they're walking into that is inherently privileged, and that's why people want to be in politics, because of all the privilege it affords them and the money from the speaking gigs and the book deals afterwards. They're not worried about being in it for the now.
It's and when those videos hit, it just does such damage to public trust.
Oh, huge! The ridicule in the UK right now.
Nobody wants to vote. Nobody cares about it. Nobody thinks that. But you know what? At the end of the day, the only way that we're going to get elected officials to focus on what's good policy instead of good theater for them is to vote. I mean, I think that if I were king for a day, I would make all partisan races align with the presidential cycle every 4 years.
Yeah.
And then I would make that day, both the primary and the general election, both of those days in that 4-year cycle would be national holidays. So people, those 2 days, they don't have an excuse not to vote. Mm-hmm. And then I would do like the Australians do. I think it's Australia and some of these other countries where there's a voting tax. If you don't vote, you have to pay a tax.
You know what else you could do?
Vote.
King Acevedo, when you're king for the day.
Yeah, right.
I found this out the hard way in Mexico that when they have a voting day, bars are closed. Did you know that?
Lord, you must have had like withdrawals that day.
Well, listen, I think it was the 4th of July as well. And I don't care, but I was there with an American friend. She's like, let's go and get nachos and beer, and everything was closed.
That's horrible. And so on the day that you were reminded that your forefathers lost the war against those crazy Americans, and you needed some self-medication, it was all closed. That's horrible.
Now listen, in typical Deb O'Keefe style, we made friends with these guys from Sweden who knew a Mexican DJ who was throwing a house party in an empty pool in a mansion, and they had tons of beer.
That's awesome.
We're all good, Chief. Don't worry about me. Where there's a will, there's a way. I'm hoping at some point, Chief, I'll be able to put in the video clip here, because this will be on YouTube as well as on all the podcasts. But there's my favorite picture of me and you is of me and Erica, our dear friend, at ACL Festival years ago, maybe 2012 or 13. And then when we went to their wedding in Montreal, we recreated the picture in front of the slideshow of their life, which was one of the pictures. That
was a lot of fun. That was a lot of fun. I mean, Austin, Montreal, so many good memories. I mean, a decade in that great city. Yeah. Have so many friends there. Really miss it. I get really upset when I see the council just mismanaging it. Mm-hmm. When they just life's not about extremes; it's about common sense. And they got to be real careful. The city's growing very quickly, and if it's not managed properly, and we don't and we're not smart about the way that we are handling the business on behalf of the people, you end up with a lot of bad outcomes. And look at how much murders through the roof in Austin. I mean, I would have been going crazy had I been your chief when they started defunding the police and, not being thoughtful. Look, it's kind of like if you have this is my analogy, right? If you have an old football stadium, and I'll use soccer for my British friends,
all right.
And you need to replace it, you don't just tear down the old stadium until you build a new stadium.
Yeah.
The same thing goes with policing. You don't just defund the heck out of it. And when it comes to public safety, it shouldn't be an experiment. An experiment. It needs to be it needs to be evidence-based. It needs to be thoughtful. It needs to be deliberative. And unfortunately, I don't think that's happening in Austin. And then when they started that defund stuff, if you're a Democrat, the Austin City Council handed the Republican side of the aisle a campaign fodder that they very effectively used across the entire state to really wipe out a lot of the Democrat races. And unfortunately, if they keep it up, they'll do the same thing nationwide during the midterms next year with that. We should talk about doing better. We want better policing, not get rid of policing. We want to be creative in how we address public safety issues and mental health issues and addiction issues. And there's a way to do all that and talk about that without coming up with slogans like abolish ICE or abolish the police or defund the police or any of that other crazy stuff.
And I'm all about public reform, police reform, less violence toward people of color and people in mental health crisis. That's like seems like a common sense thing that everybody should feel. But I do agree with you that slogan got out there and just got really misunderstood what it meant and how it would impact these police departments. It's not you can't make sweeping decisions like that without understanding exactly how many departments and public safety issues it affected, like our DWI squad. I bet you the people saying defund the police and others, didn't realize how dangerous that would be for our city, that we don't have, or the funding was pulled for our DUI squad.
Yeah, and think about DUI. I mean, the DWI, a drunk driver doesn't discriminate. When they're driving that deadly weapon, they'll kill white people, black people, brown people, Asian people, straight people, gay people,
children,
Muslims. I mean, you name it, they kill everybody. And unfortunately, when you have as big as a nightlife scene that we have in Austin, and on top of that, it's a big part of our culture in Texas. I mean, Texas was the last state to actually ban, right, and make open containers illegal.
Really?
It's just it's part of our culture. The joke used to be, look, when I'm going to go on a drive, is it a 6-pack drive because Texas is so big? Is it a 12-pack? Is it a case? Yeah, those are old school Texas jokes. So
those things are hard to shake for some people.
Yeah, and your homicides are up, your violent crime is up, your traffic fatalities are up, and that's all, I think, related to what happened with the funding.
Well, look, I'm not going to keep you much longer, as I know you're important and you're busy, and your day, you told me earlier, has just been crazy. So I know you got stuff to do. But listen, the door's always open here. All right, you come back to us.
Yeah, thank you.
Anytime. And I will. You're at the beach right now, aren't you?
Let me just show you guys something. Hold on, I don't want to upset you, but come on now. We got specific.
That's not nice. That's a look at that.
Call me and I'll see you guys next time I'm in Austin.
Yeah, do that. You can always stay in my spare room. I always tell my guests that, Chief, anytime you like.
Excellent. All right, I'll do that.
All right, love you.
Guys.
Be safe. Take care.
Bye.
That was really shitty to do that to us at the end of the podcast there, Chief. Showing us the beach. Humble brag. Yeah, stuff got real there for a minute, didn't it? It's what a world. What a world we're living in. And I've been accused of being pro-police, accused of that as being derogatory and it being an insult. And I've taken it really personally sometimes. And I've been called a homer. I don't even really understand what that means. Oh, you're a police homer, you're a sycophant, you're something. And that's, I find that's really wrong. I have happened to be lucky to know the chief, and that's an extreme privilege, I understand, of not just my position in my career, but a personal privilege, knowing him through family, friends. And I've, had great experiences with him, terrible experiences with other cops, indeed. But why can't we support and buoy up cops like Chief Acevedo? Because all cops aren't the opposite, right? They're not all, I don't even want to name any of their names, that have shot people like Philandro Castile, George Floyd, Breonna Taylor. Unfortunately, the list could go on and on. But we have great cops, great law enforcement professionals like our in the books. And that's why I stand by the good cops and support them and try and get the message out as much as possible to look into things like, when you hear defund the police, what exactly does that mean? What is that? How is that going to affect you? Not only affect the people who are in more serious danger, people of color, people with mental health issues, with mental health issues who are of color. The numbers are staggering. But just do a little due diligence on things like that when you get involved. And, as far as the protests last year going, Chief Acevedo was all for it. As I said at the beginning of the interview, taking a knee with citizens protesting in the city of Houston, showing his solidarity, showing up for the victims of shitty policing. And that's why, in my opinion, he was fired from the city of Miami Police Department, because he wanted to take those cops to the table. He wanted to make those men and women who didn't live the pledge that they had taken, who let their biases control their behavior, who murdered people, who assaulted people unnecessarily. And so, yeah, I stand for the police. I don't stand for the bad police. I stand for the great police that are doing the job, that are doing the work. And there's always room to learn and grow if you feel like maybe your biases are making you behave a little unscrupulously, especially if you're a police officer. All right, sorry I got real there. Damn it, I had a really great question for Art as well about something really silly that happened. I'll tell you now. The other week, I was in a car park for, I don't know what store it was. You know what it was? This is not an ad, but it can be. If you want to advertise on my podcast, Home Goods, you can cross that out later if you want. But I was in there because they have cheap dog toys, and my dogs just go through toys, so much. They're bully breeds, tearing everything, stuffing out everywhere. And when I got back to my car with my goodies, the car next to me, which had been there when I parked, I noticed there was dogs in there and they started barking. And I looked and I put my hand on the hood and thought, this car is not running its AC. Like I would run my old car with the AC on. I could lock it and I'd leave the dogs inside. So this car was off, windows all the way up. It's Texas. Yeah, we're in winter, but it was a 78-degree day. 78 degrees outdoors. I don't do the maths on this, but 70 degrees outdoors inside a car with windows rolled up. I believe it can get to 100, in less than 30 minutes, maybe an hour, something like that. So I went back into the store and I said, hey, can you make an announcement? There's a Lexus out there that's the windows up and there's dogs. No, we can't do that. I said, well, can I shout? So I walked around the store yelling for the owner of the car to come out, or I was going to smash the window and get the dogs out and call the police. And so I get back to my car after being unsuccessful, and I was there with a friend and I was going to ask him what he thought I should do next. And there were people, old people, I'm talking really old people, opening up the back of their Lexus, loading in their goods. And I said, hey, have you just been shopping with your dogs in the car and the car off? And I'm not kidding you. This man launched himself at me. And I'm talking old, 78. If he wasn't 78, he looked at it very old. Sorry, 78-year-old. Sorry, Joe Biden. I know that's your age. You're up there. But you old. You shouldn't be lunging at virile young women who are pissed when you're breaking the law. So this man comes up to me in my face, by the way, and I'd just taken my mask off, got to come out of the shop, and he's not wearing one. And says, get the F out of here. Get out of here. Get out of here. It's not your business. I said, it is my business. As an animal lover, you just left your two dogs in there for God knows how long. He's like, get out of here. We're leaving. So I got in my car and they're still standing there with the doors closed. And I'm like, just get in your car and turn the AC on for God's sake. If that was my dogs, I know they'd be panting and drooling. And I said, look, this is what I have this in my car for. And I held up we'll insert picture here of my smash. If you're trapped in your car and your car is flooded down the street because you drove into deep water, it's orange. It's got like a seatbelt cutter. It's My friends Nick and Jason bought it for me as a gift years ago. It's kind of a gag, but hey, turn around, don't drown. Here's the tool you get out. And it'd be great for smashing someone's window when they've left their dog inside. So I said, look, this is what is used in situations like this when people leave their dogs in their cars. Open your car door now or turn your car on or I'll do something about it. That was what I wanted to ask Chief Acevedo about. Was my behavior illegal? I didn't like brandish it at them or anything, but I said, you know, your dogs are inside a car that is off and it's almost 80 degrees outside. I'll just leave that one with you guys. I didn't do anything. Just put it in the door and went home and drove away. But I hope those fucking assholes dogs get stolen by someone who loves them and takes really good care of them, and then they're miserable because they miss them. Don't leave your dogs locked in a car without the windows down or the AC on. Don't be that person. If I find you, I'll smash your cars and I'll call the police. All right. Love you. Thank you as always for watching, listening. Spotify is where you can find us if you're listening to us somewhere else somehow and you don't know how to download a podcast. It's really super easy. Spotify, Apple, iTunes. You can subscribe on YouTube as well. My show is Through the Magic of Television. It's right there for you on YouTube and it's for free. So thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. And thanks again to Chief Acevedo. Love you guys. Thanks for listening. You can find more episodes and all of our other Hot Pie Media originals baked fresh daily at our home online at hotpiemedia.com, the Hot Pie Media YouTube channel, or wherever you listen to podcasts.